already gave you the first glimpse of the Volkswagen Taigun earlier this year in March, and now we have it here in production, guys, for us to drive it. Now we've already given you the basic information about the car, so let's get to the important questions first. Now the Volkswagen Taigun, it'll go up against the Skoda Kushaq, the Kia Seltos and the Hyundai Creta. Now the Hyundai Creta and the Kia Seltos, they're undoubtedly the segment champions and they sell in huge numbers because of the features and the value they offer. The Skoda Kushaq, on the other hand, it's come out as an SUV for people who like to drive. So then where does that leave the Volkswagen Taigun? Well, what we're going to try and find out is that whether or not the Volkswagen Taigun has what it takes to make a place for itself in this segment, or is it too late to the party? But before we go ahead, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. So let's talk about the design first. But before we show you some nice dramatic shots of the Taigun, let's take a look at the competition first. Now that I've given you a quick look of the competition, let's check out the Taigun with some dramatic shots and some good music. Alright, so talking about the design, the Taigun looks a little compact compared to its Korean rivals. But even so, it's got the presence and it's got that premiumness in the design. At the front, starting from the bottom, you get the mandatory bash plate. The rest of the bottom half of the bumper is a mix of glossy piano black and a healthy dose of chrome, which we aren't really a fan of. Moving upwards, you get more chrome in the slatted grille, which is highlighted by the brand new Volkswagen logo in the center. Connected at either ends are the large LED headlamps, which also get stylish DRLs in them. On the sides, again it's typical Volkswagen. The lines are clean, you get a nice strong shoulder line, and the thick plastic cladding are prominent enough to shout SUV. And again, chrome finds its way on the side as well in the form of additional detailing just below the outside rear view mirrors. The 16-inch alloy wheels look good, and in the DSG GT variant, you also get red calipers in the front along with dual-tone 17-inch alloy wheels. Unfortunately, you do not get discs at the rear and have to make do with drum brakes. The rear, like we mentioned in our previous video, is just fantastic. Starting from the top, you get a shark fin antenna and a spoiler with a high-mounted stop lamp. However, the best part is the tail lamp section. While the LED tail lamps look quite cool on their own, what makes it stand out is the whole LED strip that runs across the width of the car, a design only seen in high-end segments. The bottom half of the bumper continues with the cladding from the sides, and just like at the front, you get a chrome garnish at the rear as well. The bash plate finally completes the Taigun's sporty rear. Overall, the Taigun is a handsome looking SUV. It might not be as flashy as the Creta or the Seltos, but it does have all the ingredients to stand out. What do you think about the Taigun's design? Do let us know in the comments below. Alright, now let's talk about the interiors. Now, one look at this dashboard layout and you know this is a Volkswagen. So let's check out what we can see first. Two-tone dashboard colors, check. Now, talking about the dashboard two-tone colors, you can see this nice cherry red finish. This is exclusive on the manual version. So all the manual versions get this cherry red finish, and this matches with this car's color, of course, but with the other car colors, I think it should give a nice contrast. The DSG variant, instead of this red finish, you get a grey finish, and I think it looks pretty good. Now what we also like about this dashboard colors are that Volkswagen has used very less of piano black. You do see some of it here, but most of it is cherry red, or in the DSG you see more grey. So this not only looks just as premium as piano black, but it's also less of a dust and fingerprint magnet. Now what we also like is this odd heptagon shaped layout for the infotainment screen. It looks refreshingly different. These two aircon vents, however, not so much. They really look out of place, and it looks like the designer just stuffed them in there. Now since this is the manual version, you get an analog instrument cluster, but in the DSG variant you get a digital cockpit. Now the graphics on the digital cockpit look really nice, and it gets some really good readability as well. On the quality front, the Taigun gets over 95% localization. So how good is it? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. While certain parts feel good, certain parts get scratchy plastic and it feels a little flimsy. What we would have also liked is some soft touch materials on the dashboard, which would have definitely made the interiors feel a lot more premium. Now let's talk about the seats. So you've got good support all around, the view is great, and you also get these nice bolsters on the side to hold you in place. So driving long hours shouldn't be a problem at all. Now let's check out the rear bench. With a wheelbase of 2651 mm, which is obviously identical to the Skoda Kushaq, but more than the Creta or the Seltos. And it's immediately noticeable thanks to this insane amount of kneeroom available. Headroom is not an issue, and thanks to the almost flat floor and good under thigh support means it's great for the chauffeur driven kind too. But for a family of 5, not so much. As you can see, the Taigun just isn't as wide as the competition, and seating 3 abreast is not very comfortable. So the Taigun at best is a comfortable 4-seater. Now talking about the boot space, Volkswagen haven't given us an official figure yet, but considering its similar dimensions to the Kushaq, we think it'll be under 400 liters for sure. With the Taigun, it also gets a very high loading lip, which means if you have some heavy luggage, it can be quite a bit of a workout. Overall, the interiors of the Volkswagen Taigun are a mixed bag. It's got some good touches and some things we expected to be better. Now let's look at the features that the Taigun comes loaded with. So you get a 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system that also gets wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, digital cockpit, wireless phone charging, touch control auto AC, rear view camera, ventilated leather front seats, ambient lighting, and an electric sunroof. You also get connected features, but then it's not as exhaustive as the competition. On the safety front, the Taigun has got it covered. It's got ABS with ESP, tire pressure deflation warning, up to 6 airbags, rear park distance control, and hill hold control. The only thing missing here, we think, is the absence of rear disc brakes, which should have been present. Powering the Taigun are a familiar set of petrol engines only. So you get a 1-liter TSI engine that comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic torque converter. But what we're driving here is the 1.5-liter TSI Evo engine. Again, gearbox options, a 6-speed manual or the famed 7-speed DSG gearbox. And we get to drive both the gearbox options today. Let's start with my favorite here, the 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, power figures for both the gearbox options stand at 148 bhp and 250 Newton meters of torque. Now, this is the same engine that you also get in the bigger Volkswagen T-Roc, but somehow in the smaller Taigun, it feels a lot more sprightlier. The engine feels refined, and at cruising speeds, it's near silent. With the maximum torque available between 1600 to 3500 rpm, the Taigun is comfortable at low speeds in higher gears as well, because of which it warrants lesser gear changes. And then when you do want to have fun, you literally drop a gear and disappear. Performance comes in strong, and what also makes it even more fun is the super slick 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, this isn't a high revving motor, but even in its upper echelons, between 5 to 6000 rpm, the motor pulls beautifully and is bucket loads of fun. Alright, let's try the DSG variant now. Alright, we're driving the DSG variant now. This gearbox is just amazing. Not only is it the best twin clutch gearbox out there, but it's also just as much engaging as it's convenient. Upshifts and downshifts are both very quick to execute, and it's just an amazing combination of convenient and fun. Volkswagen claims a 0 to 100 km per hour time of 9.1 seconds and a top speed of 190 km per hour for the DSG variant. This is something that we will test and verify soon, along with the fuel efficiency, since Volkswagen haven't given us an official figure yet. Getting to the ride quality, the Taigun breaks away from the regular Volkswagen mold, and I mean that in a good way. While most Volkswagens feel stiff at low speeds, the Taigun suspension is very compliant. And that means broken or pothole-ridden roads at low speeds are not a problem at all. But it's important to note that the manual variant gets 16-inch wheels with 60 profile rubber, which rides noticeably better than the DSG variant with 17-inch wheels and 55 profile rubber. And even then, the handling isn't off the mark either. The steering is light but accurate, and even though there is some roll, it feels safe and predictable in the twisty stuff. The only negative we felt was that the suspension does get quite chattery on uneven sections, especially the DSG variant with the larger wheels. So the Taigun comes across as a very competitive product from Volkswagen. It's got a handsome design, it's got plenty of kit, and it drives very well too. And the launch is just around the corner. Now, answering the original question, does the Taigun have what it takes to stand out in this segment, or is it too late to the party? Well, the answer boils down to its price. Now, its brother from another mother, the Skoda Kushaq, well, that didn't play the price game too well. So can we expect Volkswagen to do any better? Well, for their sake and ours, we hope Volkswagen manages to price it well, because this is genuinely a very good product and it'd be a shame to see it let down only by its price. But if they do manage to price it well, we think the Taigun will start a party of its own.
I was meant to be living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be. I'm living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be free, meant to be free.